We've been around since 1989, and we represent 21 Franklin County towns, helping them manage their trash, their recycling, their composting, their hazardous waste, and everything else in between. So I'm pleased to be able to be here this evening and walk through this program and answer questions. I'm also available until the very last question is answered. And if I personally don't know an answer, I will certainly look it up and get back to you. So feel free to ask those questions. Like Brian said, I'd like to walk through this first, and then keep track of your questions or put them in the chat box, and we'll get to at the end.
Okay.
Brian's going to forward slides here for me. Okay, so this is just the very quick overview, and then we'll dig into this a little bit more. So it's effective August 1st, but the first Friday trash pickup is August 6th. So on Friday, August 6th, every trash bag that's put out at the curb for pickup will need a Erving trash sticker. And those trash stickers are in the process of getting mailed to every household this week.
Correct.
One sticker, so they're the stickers, you'll see they come 4 to a sheet. So your regular hefty 33-gallon, some of them are 30-gallon, but a 33-gallon trash bag, Hefty, Glad, all of those brands, you can put your trash in it just like you have been, and you will put one sticker around the neck of the bag, or if it's a drawstring bag, then you can knot the drawstrings and wrap the sticker, attach it to itself, adhere it to itself. Because many people use kitchen bags, 16, they come 15-gallon, 16-gallon, those typically white kitchen trash bags, so that people aren't penalized for using a smaller trash bag. You can basically use one sticker for 2 kitchen bags. So 1 full-size bag or 2 kitchen bags per sticker. And the town has always had a weight limit of 35 pounds in a 33-gallon trash bag. That's because people who are driving the truck, picking up the trash, have to be able to pick it up. And honestly, 35 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but in a trash bag, it's actually quite heavy. So you can have 1 full-size trash bag or 2 16-gallon trash bags, and you'll have to guesstimate if you don't have a scale. Nobody's going to go around with the scale, but 35 gallons for 1 sticker. So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what's going on? How did we get to the sticker program? And so I wanted to give you a little background. So I've been working for the Solid Waste District for 26 years now. I've been the director for 21 of those years, which has it's kind of wild, but it's been great. And one of my jobs is to report to the state every year. In order for towns to get grant funding, they have to report their trash tonnage and their recycling tonnage and anything else that they collect. So I have for 2 decades been collecting town trash tonnage, and Betsy's been great about getting those numbers to me, and now I get them directly from the hauler. And so I have this spreadsheet, and I've noticed in general, the town of Erving, going back, I had met with the select board in June of 2019, and my notes show that the average monthly trash tonnage was 31 tons, or a little over 7 tons a week. And when I started seeing the slips in July and August from the hauler, and they were 9 and 10 tons a week, I thought they made a mistake. And I actually sent, probably now, which was a very unkind email to the hauler saying, "Oh, you have the wrong town. This is not Erving. You put this ticket under the wrong town. This can't be Erving, because Erving only does 7 tons of trash, and this is for not." I think it was the first week of August was 10.94 tons. So it raised a red flag for me, and I wanted to try to figure out what could be going on. So I started talking to Brian and the select board about this, what seemed like a huge increase. We looked at previous years, compared it to what Erving has done in prior years, and also looked at the town of Gill, which is right next door. And the reason I looked at Gill is because Erving has 600 households a week picked up, and Gill has 588. So you're basically identical number of households, and one would think, you know, there'd be some correlation to trash generation. I'll get into that a little bit more. So because the numbers never went down, September numbers, all of August numbers were almost 8 to 11 tons. I decided I was going to follow the trash truck one day. So on September 4th, I spent 7 hours literally driving behind the trash truck and looking to see if I could see something, you know, some very clear indication of why the numbers had gone up 3 tons a week. We also decided to have the trash trucks inspected because I thought, well, maybe they're coming with trash from somewhere else on their route. And we actually, Glenn McCrory met the trash trucks several times. I think Brian met the trucks as well, and made sure they were empty before they started the route. So I wanted to make sure I did my due diligence to try to understand how this increase could have happened, and so these are some of the things that I took a look at with the town. Okay, so I mentioned that I compared Erving to Gill because you basically have the same number of curbside household stops. Now Gill is a full pay-as-you-throw trash bag system. I believe their stickers cost $3 per bag. Every single bag residents have to pay $3 for. And because I track tonnage for all the towns, I was able to, week by week, look at how much was picked up in Gill and how much was picked up in Erving. So from August of last year to this recent June, Erving generated, so this is 11 months worth of data, Erving generated 427 tons of trash. There were 47 weeks in that those 11 months, and that's about 9 tons a week. Gill, same number of households, but with a full pay-as-you-throw program, generated 144 tons or 3 tons a week. So basically a third of that. Now, it's not completely apples to apples because Gill is 100% pay-as-you-throw and Erving is not, but it's still, the numbers were still shocking to me that Erving's trash was so much higher than that. So just comparing 2019, so this is the state for some reason wants me to report on a calendar year basis, even though most of us work on a fiscal year basis. So the calendar year numbers for Erving, so you can see a little over about 368 tons in 2019, and we were missing 1 month in 2020. 416 tons. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you consider that there's only 600 households, in all of my years, you know, I keep, and Brian and Jake can attest to this, I kept saying, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. Well, I haven't figured it out, or I think I have figured it out, which has kind of led us to this sticker idea. Right. Because it just seems strange that there was such a big increase. So when I drove around behind the trash truck on September 4th, I only took a couple of pictures, and there weren't, I shared these pictures so you can see that there are some households that put out quite an abundance of trash bags. This is certainly not the norm. Maybe 10 households had more than 10 bags of trash out, but this does happen. And there are also some households that had, you know, 1 bag or a kitchen bag. Right. So there's a big range of quantity of trash going out on the curb. So I mentioned that we kept like checking boxes off, trying to figure out what this increase was about, and nothing really. There were no clear signs. Nothing showed up. So inspecting the trash trucks, they were empty. There were some I know, sometimes they knew we were coming to look, and other times Glenn would just show up at the start of the day at 7 o'clock, and the trucks were empty. And then because the tonnage never decreased, we continued to see 9 and 10 tons every week. I suggested, and the town required the trash hauler to actually weigh. Each truck had to weigh at 7 o'clock in the morning before they started picking up trash. And then at the end of the day, they would weigh out. And so I was comparing tear weights from the beginning of the day to the end of the day when they emptied, and looked at many of them and entered them all into a spreadsheet, and couldn't find there. Again, there was nothing where I could say, aha, the truck showed up with 3 tons of trash in it this morning at 7 o'clock. I just couldn't find that. And believe me, I looked, I was hoping. So where did this lead me professionally? You know, I kind of, I felt like I looked at every possible cause. And I mentioned this to the town officials for years, going way back. I mean, I don't have any documentation, electronic documentation, but I feel certain when Tom Sharp was the administrator, I met with the select board and said, you folks are really, you know, kind of, your streets are porous for trash, and you may want to consider some kind of program, some kind of sticker program. So I know, we know, and you'll see a map in a little while, that Erving is really an island in a sea of towns that have pay-as-you-throw, 100% pay-as-you-throw, or Sunderland doesn't offer any service, so every resident has to hire a hauler. So it's basically the same thing. I am very confident that some significant amount of trash tonnage is coming from non-residents, from people driving through the night before trash pickup, Thursday night, dropping their trash off, or maybe, you know, family and friends feel like, oh, it's free in Erving, just, you know, bring your stuff over, don't pay $3 in Montague, or Gil, come over here. And so like I said, I'm fairly confident that Erving, that the taxpayers are paying for a lot of trash that isn't generated by Erving residents. In Franklin County, not including Monroe, but in Franklin County, Conway and Sunderland are the only other towns that do not have pay-as-you-throw. So out of 26 communities, the extreme majority require residents to either hire a trash hauler or buy a bag or buy a sticker. Okay, so the town of Rowe, which in some ways I would say, it seems like financially maybe in a similar positive position, advantageous position economically as the town of Erving. Again, I would see their trash tonnage every year, and I talked to the Board of Health for years and years and years and said, I guarantee you that you are getting trash from Charlemont and Heath and Buckland and Shelburne and every town that requires a trash sticker. So they finally, when they looked at the numbers and saw that they were producing more trash than towns a lot larger than them, they decided to implement a trash sticker program. And what they found, because I monitored their tonnage each month, what they found was in the first year of this program, they lost 31 tons of trash disappeared. Now, there's only 200 households in Rowe, so 31 tons of trash was coming from elsewhere. And so that was a significant savings for them. Now, Rowe implemented what's called a modified pay-as-you-throw system, and Erving is not, at this point, really in the what I would call a pay-as-you-throw program until you get through 3 series of trash stickers. But they implemented a program where residents get 52 free stickers and then have to buy a sticker after that. So 31 tons of trash disappeared in the town of Rowe in 12 months. So this map, you can't quite see all of the town names, but I put a little arrow in, and when I said you're in a sea of pay-as-you-throw communities, every single community surrounding you, the red are towns that have a transfer station drop-off. The green town just kind of to the northwest is Gill. They have a curbside program. And then Montague and Greenfield are in purple because they have curbside and transfer station. Those towns are all pay-as-you-throw towns. So you can see why why I kind of came to this conclusion that, you know, barring finding any other solutions or answers to why the tonnage went up, it kind of led me to this point that I'm fairly certain stuff is coming from all of these other red towns, red, purple, and green towns. So what are the benefits to Erving to do this? Well, what's been happening, what the trash sticker program will do is it really allows the town to keep out non-resident trash and to only pay for what's being generated, because that's the whole point of a curbside program, or when a town collects taxes and offers free curbside trash and recycling, they're really offering it to taxpayers, right? Or renters who are renting a house where the homeowner is paying taxes. So this program will, I think, reduce, if not fully eliminate, a lot of the trash that's coming from out of town. The other thing that happens is all of that, there's a cost to all of that extra trash that's coming in. And, you know, seniors across the country, seniors are known to generate far less trash. They don't buy as many groceries, they don't typically eat as much, and they generally throw out a lot less trash. So Erving seniors are paying taxes right now and basically subsidizing the cost of trash from out of town, or people who are generating very large quantities of trash. So this kind of, in some ways, levels the playing field. Everybody gets the same number of stickers. These kinds of programs are compared to utilities, where, you know, everybody is paying. Everybody pays for what they're using. In this case, everybody's getting the same number of stickers, so there's no favorites. Nobody gets more or less. And if you need more, we'll talk about how you can get more. And then if you need more, then there would be a fee. So the other thing is this increase really caught the town off guard, right? So like I said, I have historical tonnage that I track. When Brian and I worked on a bid, I think it was in early of 2020 for July 1st, 2020 was a new hauling contract. We had to give the hauler a price, an estimate of how many tons of trash. So the town had a budget based on historical trash disposal, how much it would cost, and that hauling contract is bid on how many trucks they need. So we're in a little bit of an awkward position right now, because the hauler bid for only one truck, one driver, and every week they've needed 2 trucks, 2 drivers, so to collect all of the trash. So this sticker program really allows the town to know, we have this many stickers out. If everybody puts 30 pounds out a week per sticker, we're going to generate this many tons of trash. And so we won't be caught off guard in future budget cycles with, you know, kind of a really unexpected huge increase, because the trash is jumping 3 times a week. Okay, so Brian added this great picture. You can tell he's much more creative in his slides than I am. So here's an example. The stickers are purple because we didn't want to use stickers from any other towns. A lot of towns have, you know, blue, green, yellow. So this is basically the idea of, on August 6th, what your trash, all the trash on the curb will look like. If it's a 33-gallon bag, it will have a purple sticker, 1 on it. And if it's 2 kitchen bags, then it will have 1 sticker for 2. And the stickers have, you know, basic information. They say right on it, 1 sticker per 33-gallon or 2 16-gallon bags, and not to exceed 35 pounds. I think what I said in the very beginning is contractor bags have never been allowed. The town's policy is not to take contractor bags, but contractor bags will not be picked up even with one sticker. Well, I guess if it had 35 pounds or less, maybe, but we're trying to discourage contractor bags. Now, as I was saying, every household is getting 104 stickers, and so if you only use 80 of those of your stickers, but your brother or sister or mother needs more than their 104, there's no rule against giving your extra 20 stickers to that person, right? We're just trying to identify the trash as Erving trash. And so there's really a universe of X number of stickers being mailed out, and they're good. They're good for anybody to use. So if people feel that they need more, that may be the first avenue to approach, is to see if someone you know isn't using all of theirs. Okay, so everybody's going to get 104, so that's basically the equivalent of 2 trash bags per week. The select board had voted to offer households an additional 52 stickers, so that would be 156 a year, or three bags a week. But you need to get the third set of 52 stickers from the town hall. And so, that's so that the town can keep track, and so can't come in and say, oh, I didn't get my 52. So, there's an honesty system here. If you need more than 156 stickers, then the select board decided that they would be 50 cents a piece, which is very affordable. Most towns are $2 to $3 a piece. And because they come in a sheet of 4, so you basically have to buy a sheet at $2. And I want to point out, I think it's important, some people may not be really liking this idea. And, the town offers this. I think it's important to recognize the town, through your taxpayers' dollars, is really offering this program to you as a service. And so if you're feeling like, I'm not using those stickers, you don't have to use those stickers. But there's a health requirement to get rid of your trash. So your alternatives are to do what Sunderland does, and Sunderland residents, and hire a private hauler, or you to come and pick up your trash every week, or you could get a dumpster, which is also hiring a private hauler. So I think for the towns that are fortunate enough to have curbside, there's only a handful of towns in the county that have curbside trash pickup. It's really I don't want to say it's a luxury, but it's definitely an advantage if you live in a town that has curbside trash pickup. But if you're not loving this program, I just wanted to point out that you have an alternative here. I think everybody will come to love it, but maybe that's to be seen. So I'm almost at the end here. I just wanted to point out that, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, like, oh, I make 5 bags of trash a week and there's no way I can do 2 stickers a week is just not enough. I just want to encourage, here's a little shout out for recycling. So if you're making 3 bags of trash and you're not recycling, you can probably recycle enough to get down to 2 bags of trash, because we estimate about 30% of your trash can be recycled. And I'll show you, I think the next slide is kind of the most unwanted, but plastic bags, when I was driving around on September 4th, I did see some recycling in plastic bags, and it's very, very convenient to put your bottles and cans in a plastic bag and tie it up and put it in the bin. But plastic bags are really dangerous in some ways to the recycling facility, because they wrap around. First of all, if something's in a plastic bag, they don't open it because they don't know what's in it. So if you're taking the time to recycle and you put your recycling in any kind of plastic bag, they literally throw it out. They just pick it off the floor and throw it out. If there's a plastic bag that gets by them, then what happens is there's a lot of rollers and equipment. What happens is the plastic bags tangle, And so the entire facility has to shut down often, usually once a day or once every 2 days, to literally go in and cut all the plastic bags off. So I encourage you, if you have plastic grocery bags, bring them back to the grocery store. I think every single store is now up and running. There are a lot of programs, plastic bag programs at the stores that got kind of put on hold with the pandemic, but I'm pretty sure they're all up and running. So recycle your plastic bags at the grocery stores and don't put them in the recycling. What's happening now, so the recycling markets have really exploded. They've been jumping each month. I track this for the towns. The town of Erving has a contract to send all of the recyclables to a processing facility in Springfield. You may see it if you drive by the Bernie Ave exit on 91. It's off to the right, and they have big signs on the side of it. So starting in June, the town is actually receiving a revenue for every ton of recycling. And this doesn't mean that there's not a cost, right? The town is still paying the hauler to pick it up and drive it to Springfield. So there's a cost for recycling. But I wanted to mention this because for those of you who are really on the fence about recycling, it's actually a way for you to help your town make money. It's kind of like, you know, when there are programs where you return tabs, soda tabs, or, you know, some charity gets money for those soda tabs. Well, by recycling properly or recycling, you're actually contributing to some revenue for the town. We're not talking millions of dollars, but it's money. It's money that the town gets for this program. Okay, so I'm not going to go into this detail. I have, well, the website is down there in kind of small font, and I think I might have it on the next slide. Springfield MRF. MRF, we pronounce it MRF, and that's for Material Recycling Facility. So Springfield MRF, affectionately known as the Smurf amongst my peers. So this facility, as I said, there's a lot of equipment. There are humans who are sorting material, but there's a lot of equipment, and there are a lot of things that go into the recycling because people have good intentions. A lot of people think, oh, well, they'll figure out what to do with it. But the reality is they don't figure out. What they figure out to do with it is throw it out in their trash. So we just ask that if you're not sure about what can go in your recycling, that you check out the springfieldmurf.org webpage. You can also check out the Franklin County Solid Waste District webpage. We have similar information. And, you know, you keep things out like bags or what we call tanglers. People try to recycle their Christmas tree lights or hoses. Those things tangle in the equipment as well. So this is kind of the top 10 or top 12 things that we prefer don't show up in recycling bins. And lastly, some of you may already compost. Composting, this is, you know, separating out your food waste and not putting your food waste in the trash. Food waste takes up at least 25% of your trash total. It's also very heavy waste and putrescible. So as you know, in the summer, if you have a lot of food waste in your trash, it can really smell bad. We sell backyard compost bins here for $50 a piece. We sell these little kitchen pails for $5 a piece. We're happy to sell them to anyone and to help people learn how to do backyard composting. We also have my coworker, Amy Donovan, is really kind of a specialist in worm composting. So if you're curious about how to build a worm compost bin and something you can keep in your basement year round and put your coffee grounds and your banana peels in, we can certainly get you information. So I just want to encourage you, before we get into questions, I just want to encourage you to feel free always to call my office or to look at our website or to email myself or Amy. Our job is, the town pays an assessment to belong to the solid waste district. And so my job literally is to help residents understand how to recycle and compost and what to do with their hazardous waste and how to make less trash. So please use this as a resource about the sticker program And Brian is also, I think, the first line of resources about the sticker program, but please use my office as a resource for any questions you have about recycling or composting or hazardous waste. And I'm not sure where this presentation will live. I'm guessing it will be up on the website. So here's my contact information. I really do answer the phone when I'm in the office, and I really will find an answer for you if I don't know it. That's my job. So.
Thank you, Jan. I really appreciate you giving that presentation. And I'm sure that there's still questions folks may have. So this would be a good opportunity if people have questions that we haven't answered yet, or there's things you'd want more information on that we can research. This would be a great time to unmute yourself and do that for us. If you wouldn't mind, when you do unmute yourself, just let us know who you are. Some people are just on the phone. So if you could just give us your name, and if you need us to follow up with you, we're going to need some way to reach you. So if that's telephone or some other method, just please let us know, okay? Anybody would like to go first?
I've got a question.
Yes. Your name?
Dan Watson.
Yes, Dan.
Phone number is 413-325-3824.
Can you redo the last 4 digits for me?
3824.
3824. Thank you.
Now, you said you think that there's a lot of people from outside of Erving dropping trash off. So my question is, I'm using the sticker program. Mm-hmm. I'm putting the stickers on my trash. I put my trash out Thursday night. I go to work. Someone in between that time drops off a bag. Mm-hmm. The trash comes by, leaves it because there's not a sticker on it. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be responsible for that bag? Am I going to have to use one of my stickers, hold on to someone else's trash for a week?
No, that's illegal dumping.
Is there going to be an emergency number to call to come get this bag of trash that someone illegally just dropped?
That's a great question, and thank you for bringing that up. Illegal dumping is exactly that. It's illegal. So please contact the Erving Police Department, notify them that you have an instance of illegal dumping, and we'll take it from there.
They'll take the trash away?
It's not so much about we'll deal with the town itself. Will deal with the trash, but they will find out if it's possible by some evidence in the bag who it belongs to. And we've done that with illegal dumping that's been reported over the years. Illegal dumping is not new in Erving. It's not new in Franklin County. The Erving Police Department, even with anything goes, will respond to homes that report illegal dumping incidents. Typically what we find is that residents actually sit with the illegal item that was left at their home for weeks. And then when all of this time has gone by, they finally say something to the town, and it's too far gone for us to be able to track down how it happened, how regularly it's happening, if it's a bigger issue in the neighborhood. So as soon as you notice it happening, please report it, and we will take it from there.
Okay. The other issue is that most of the time I see a separate truck collecting recyclables. Yep. But I've seen them grab my cardboard and throw it in with the back of the rubbish.
I want to bring up this photo. You are not the first person to bring that to our attention. So I want to bring up a photo for you if my computer will cooperate. We have received that complaint. You're absolutely right. I have a photo that shows you how the Casella truck collects. But in full transparency, I also want to note that we have found one instance so far where recycling, specifically cardboard, was mixed in one load of trash. So I do want to be transparent. We did find that, and that goes back to Jan's work, where we've been doing these spot inspections, and we are literally tracking your material from curbside to disposal site to track down this issue over the last year. But with that said, the equipment is a little misleading as to the different compartments that are used for collection. So I will pull that up on the screen and show that to you and the other people on the call. If there's another question that you have while I'm pulling that up, please let me know.
The last one I have is that the new company has that arm that picks up the trash can and dumps it in.
Yep.
How are they going to see the sticker?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they will have to basically, if they're going to use the arm and it dumps, they'll have to look in the hopper before they flush it. Or I think what's probably going to happen is initially they will have to pull the bags out of the cart and not use the cart tipper, because we really need to make sure that folks are using the sticker. Now, I think, there are Erving residents on here. I think it's probably rare that somebody from out of town would actually come and put their trash inside your cart. Maybe it happens. I think most people are just leaving it on the curb somewhere. Or, homeowners are taking trash from their friends and relatives as a favor. So the hauler is going to have to adjust to looking for sticker programs. They do the very same. It's the very same hauler in Gill.
Yep.
Gill has a requirement for a sticker on every bag, and they have carts. So the company will know that they're going to have to look at every bag.
Geez. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, while Brian's pulling up the picture, I just want to go back to your question about the trash bag that's left at your curb. It is really important to contact the police right away, or let somebody know so that we can try to track down who does it. There are ways to find out sometimes. But what I found is people who are leaving trash in the middle of the night, once they learn that there's a sticker program, I mean, there's people from all different ways of being in the world. So some people may not care, but what I've seen in other programs is people stop doing it because now they have to see their trash sitting in front of somebody's house that didn't get picked up. And so it just changes the game for a lot of people, because now their trash isn't going away. Their trash is actually being left there, and somebody's having to deal with it. So when it disappears, I think people feel okay about it. When it doesn't disappear, or their bag is the only one that doesn't have a sticker and everybody else has a sticker, I think something changes for a lot of people. So we've seen that. I know in my hometown, I live up in southern Vermont, and we had the same thing happen. A lot of out of town trash, because we had free trash pickup. And as soon as we started our sticker program, almost all of the out of town trash disappeared. I don't understand it, but it seems to change people's approach.
So my email is freezing. I'm sending it over to Jake so that he can screen share it off of his computer. And I apologize for these the tech issue I'm having today.
And while Brian's working on that, I can explain. So I think just going back to your comment, Dan, it's really important that if you see something that looks strange, with the trash recycling program, report it to Brian. Just get a message to him. And so there were a number of residents who said they're putting the recycling in with the back of the trash. And Brian told me, I have residents complaining about this. And, I'm kind of a investigative bulldog. So I was like, oh, I'm going to figure that out. And so I worked with the disposal facilities and asked them to do inspections of the Casella truck from Erving. And they pulled several trucks for several weeks. They were pulling trucks aside in their facility and inspecting them. And they didn't find anything the first time, but the second time they did find some recycling, some mixed recycling that was in there. And you can be sure that we had a very, very stern conversation with Casella. They had pulled in a driver from Lowell or from one of their other communities to fill in. And apparently he was not engaged in separating recycling. And this may have happened a few times. So there were two things. One is, they are very clear that this is not acceptable and that there will be repercussions and possible financial penalties if they continue if we ever find them mixing recycling again.
Mm-hmm.
The other
I'm pretty sure it was the other company that I saw that.
Who?
The one we had, the company we had before this one.
USA?
Okay.
Yeah, whoever it was.
Yeah. So the other thing is what Brian's showing you. So the new age trash trucks are many of them are split body trucks where they have a divider down the middle from the cab to the back, and they can collect trash and recycling together, or trash and compost, or recycling and compost And so it all goes in. You can see that beveled area. So what's happening is the material is literally going into the same opening, but it's going into different compartments as it goes into that, right, like that. Yeah. So some stuff, you can see the cardboard looks like an Amazon box. You can see the cardboard paper is falling into the bottom compartment, and they're probably putting the trash in the upper, above that upper plate there.
Correct. And then that trap door falls down, as you can see, in that yellow compactor then pushes it into the rest of the holding area. So we're going to add this to the town website as well, because again, Dan, you're not the first resident to have observed something that seemed unusual, and we also wanted to understand this ourselves. So we want to make sure that any other residents who have that question have access to these diagrams or these photos as well, so they can understand. But again, to Jan's earlier point, the second you or your neighbors or anybody else you know in town witnesses something that doesn't make sense, definitely let my office know so that I can coordinate with Jan and our haulers, and if there needs to be enforcement, we'll take care of it. But finding out after the fact makes it harder for us to track this down. Are there other questions? Yes.
This is Mackenzie, and you have my contact information.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a list of questions. I wish that we had been able to have meetings like this when decisions were still being made. I understand that I could have, I guess, randomly looked on the agenda for Board of Selectmen, but instead it would have been really helpful if we could have had meetings like this when these decisions were being made instead of afterwards when we're just hearing about it. But my questions are, when did we start with the new company versus when did we see the increase in tonnage? It seems to me like those were pretty much the same time frame. So am I correct in that?
The most significant increase recently was correlating around the same time, and that was part of our inquiry that Jan was describing. But to Jan's earlier point, Erving having a higher tonnage in general has been something that's been monitored for a few years. But yes, we did notice the next increase around June and July of last year.
And so 2 points to that.
Yep.
One, I also have witnessed, and I saw the picture of the truck, but I've also witnessed them throwing not just cardboard, but when it's the cans and bottle recycling into what very much appears to me, because it's on my side of the street when they do it, into the same hopper. And also you know, Jan talked a lot about weighing when we began, weighing when you ended. Well, if you weigh when you ended, you're weighing, are you not weighing the recycling then when you end, because they're in the same truck? And so why are we weighing recycling to try and figure out how much tonnage of trash?
So sure, let me answer that question before I forget it. So what I was doing was getting 3 weight slips. Actually, I get a weight slip from Mackin for 7 o'clock in the morning, and it would have their tear weight empty. And then I would get the trash weight slip so I could see how much trash, because sometimes the trucks just have trash. So if it was only a trash truck, then the tear weight when they left the disposal facility should match the Mackin weight. And then I was also, the 3rd weight slip I got for split bodies that we just saw was the weight slip from the recycling facility. So I could and then so then in between, the tear weight at the disposal facility should match the ingoing weight at the MRF, right? Because we didn't want the hauler to be picking up recycling, you know, leaving the town and picking up recycling or picking up trash and then putting it on the town's dime. So I was literally matching 3 different weight slips to make sure that the beginning tear weight matched the final empty weight.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other question about that is that.
Mackenzie, if I may, I just wanted to add one more thing, which was we also compared our recycling weights before and after, and you know, the change in carrier and the change in locations, And those have not significantly changed. They've increased slightly, but we didn't see a huge drop off, which would indicate that they were trashing most of our recycling.
Yeah.
That was
okay.
the other check that we did.
Right.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's good. That was actually one of my other questions, was the comparable recycling. And then I think it bears noting that, you know, we're talking again about mostly 2020. Those were your numbers you showed us 2019 and 2020.
Mhm.
And we're coming off of a time where everybody was forced to be home. I know my family created more trash simply because we were doing takeout more often. We were doing, you know, a lot of things that we would never normally make us, and frankly I was cleaning more because we were home more. So you know, I do think that that bears, you know, thinking about as far as jumping to this idea of the sticker, you know, this trash sticker idea. And then
Can I respond to that, because it's a good point. I just want to make sure I address your questions as they come up. So you're absolutely right. The pandemic created a lot more people being home and making more trash, and so trash figures increased. They typically, though, really jumped in March and April, May, June of 2020. And what we noticed when we looked at the USA tonnage numbers, weight slips, was that Erving's numbers for the beginning of the pandemic, stay-at-home time, didn't really go up. They were still in the 7, maybe 8, maybe they increased, you know, a little bit, half a ton a week. And so what I've seen in other towns was there was a jump, but that eventually leveled off and went back to their pre-pandemic, you know, by whatever, you know, March of 2021. I mean, we're over a year and a half into the pandemic. Those numbers kind of went back to their normal. So I appreciate that you brought that up, because I looked at that. I mean, I really, and if I missed something and people go, oh, you didn't look at this, I will certainly look at it. But I did consider the whole COVID tonnage increase, and I just couldn't wrap my heads around the numbers making sense that way.
Well, and just to add to that, Jan, the 2021 numbers, though I didn't have them on the screen because the calendar year hasn't finished yet, but some of Jan's calculations do include 2021 numbers. They have not returned to our pre-pandemic numbers. It's all stayed up, and in large part the community is open, and folks are returning to their places of employment, and we're starting to see that shift back, and we're not seeing a reduction in our tonnage at all.
I think you need, I would be curious to see next year, once all of the children are back in school. Erving is a population of very young families. We have very old, and we seem to have very young, and the school was not open most of the year. Those children were not eating at school most of the year, which means that everybody was doing to-go boxes from school. So that, again, I know simply from my house, there was an enormous amount of trash that was not recyclable. It was all the to-go boxes from the school lunches and breakfasts and things like that. Not to say that that accounts for all of it, but I do think it you know, it bears looking at.
Just to that point as well, and you're bringing up a lot of great points. The trash tonnage for the town is inclusive of the school and the senior community center and things of that nature. So you're absolutely right. The trash generation that typically probably would have been consumed at the school and then disposed of at the school likely did transfer to people's homes, but that was already part of our pre-COVID calculations in terms of Erving's trash. Erving Elementary's disposal was already in that aggregate weight every month. Similar to the senior center and their meal programs, it moved to a delivery model. So again, those meals and the packaging that went along with it were disposed of at people's homes. But previous to COVID, that would have been disposed of at the senior center, and that would have been in the senior center's waste as well, and part of your aggregate that we showed you on the screen. So great points, and we have included those, and I'll be clearer about that going forward.
And I would just like to counter that with, as I work in the school, I disagree a little bit in that at the school we are now using everything disposable, where on a normal year you wouldn't. You would reuse the bowls and plates and the silverware and the trays. And this year everything was thrown away. So it did produce, whether you're picking up the trash at the school, you're picking up the trash at the homes, the amount of trash that was produced just to feed children was increased. So I mean, I'll move on from that. I have a couple of other questions and I don't want to take up everybody's time, but I did want to mention that. The other thing that, so again, Jan, in your presentation here, you talked a lot about outside people throwing away their trash in Erving. One, I don't know why Erving residents then should be penalized with these stickers for outside people's trash. But if that's the case, why not give everyone in Erving as many free stickers as they want? Then the outside trash will be very obvious because they won't have stickers. Why charge us after a certain number of stickers? I'm not taking in my, outside neighbor's trash. So why should I have to bear the cost of that? If we want to identify outside trash, simply give us the stickers we need, and any bags not with stickers are by default outside trash. And so again, I'm not really clear on why we should have to bear the burden of that cost.
Right. Well, I'll respond, and then Jake may want to respond, because it was the select board decided, that after 156 stickers, which is basically 3 bags of trash, that residents would have to pay a very nominal fee. So in general, I think, at least for me, my hope is that the stickers will, at a minimum, reduce the trash tonnage, which will reduce, has a lot of benefits, both environmentally and economically. So sorry, I lost my train of thought. So in general, if we compare, if we compare household generation, let me just bring up my number, because this is from 2019. Erving residents are generating 1,200. This is from 2019. 1,200 pounds of trash a year. You have Gill residents generating 800 pounds of trash a year. So the goal for people in my job, and I think for many people, is we want people to recycle and compost as much as they can. And so hopefully you're not feeling penalized if you need to make more than 3 bags of trash. I guess I would like to work with you about what's going, maybe a lot of it's just disposable. But if all of those disposables go away, then the sticker program is really, not a huge hassle, in that you're making less trash anyways. If you feel like you've had COVID increase in trash and it goes down, well, 3 stickers might be good enough. So I'll let Jake decide, but I think generally we're looking at for me, I'm looking at countywide. How much trash does a household need to generate? And 3 bags seemed like a good stopping point, because remember, everybody is paying for those 3 bags. So your elderly neighbor, your elderly somebody, or somebody who's single, who's not elderly, is making 1 bag of trash a week, and so they're literally, through their taxes, subsidizing the people who are making 5 and 8 and 10 bags of trash a week, or 3 bags of trash a week. So at some point there's an accountability question of, well, how much trash is too much per household for the town to just turn their head. So I'm not saying more than 3 bags of trash is bad. I'm just saying that the select board decided it's really the upper limit for what they felt was fair for each town. For each household.
I think that's a judgment call that I'm not interested in making. If you need to make 4 bags of trash because you have a household of 7, then you make 4 bags of trash. I have a household of 3. I make less trash. That is the way that it is. And in a perfect world, there'd be a lot more things that were able to be recycled. But your little chart showed an awful lot of things that couldn't be recycled. That's the world we live in. So I'm sorry, but I just feel like that's a judgment call that I don't think it's appropriate to make. And on that same vein, again, and you commented a lot about the seniors. The seniors only make 1 bag of trash. The seniors don't make a lot of trash. So then why are the seniors getting the same number of stickers as a family of 6 or a family of 7? Wouldn't it be more equitable to distribute the trash stickers based on the family size versus giving everybody the same amount? I do not want to be chasing down some old person get an extra sticker because I make more trash than they do, and I need to borrow, I need to get their sticker. I have a huge issue with this idea and the way that it's being rolled out. I don't feel it's equitable. I feel like you're penalizing people that for whatever reason have to make more trash. If you got a family of very young kids and you have disposable diapers, you're going to make a whole lot of trash than I do as a single person in my own home, without young children, or, whatever the case may be. So until we can recycle everything that we can possibly recycle, I just don't think it's fair to make the judgment call that you are only allowed 3 bags of trash a week. And maybe if you can find some old person and corner them, they might give you some of their stickers so that you can make your quota and not have to buy more. I'm sorry that sounds very flip but I hate this idea. And I think it's going to cause more people to throw trash away in our woods. And we're going to find a lot of people dumping, and we're going to find people that are stuck between keeping trash in their house or throwing it away because they've run out of stickers.
So Mackenzie, if I can just respond to some of that, and your displeasure with the program as you described is coming through loud and clear. So received. I would caution some of that. The idea that somebody has to bully their neighbor or pressure somebody to hand over the stickers is not the intent. We know that we have some neighborhoods, some streets that are very well intertwined, and they share things amongst each other. And so the idea to let people just let them know that that's okay. The town's not tracking whether you use all 3 of your stickers, and if you don't use them all, you keep them in your house and you must hold on to them. If you are in a close-knit neighborhood where you want to share them with somebody else, that's your business. The town's not trying to regulate that interaction.
Get out of our.
Your point about disposable items and the amount of trash that maybe a family with more children may generate than others, all valid points. There's nothing in any of this saying that somebody who has that as the reality could not contact our office and work with us on whatever their issue is. I think there may be a few, and I do believe that it is just a few instances where that is a true burden. Most of our residents will not use the number of trash stickers that are being mailed to their homes. It allows for 100 pounds per week per household right now as proposed to be disposed of. Most residents do not put out that much trash. So I think it's a very small part of our residents and our population that we will have to work through any of these hiccups. Without the information, it's hard to tailor a program. So part of this would be a learning and growing year to collect data, collect the information that the select board needs and refine the program. So in some ways, it is a bit arbitrary. Why 3 bags versus say 4, or something of that nature. And that's understood, but we have to start somewhere and then take in that information and make plan revisions as necessary. The board is not trying to make money off of folks. They're not trying to even recoup the cost of running trash service in this town. It's not about that. And you noted that in your family, you're not inviting other residents or other people from other communities to bring trash to your home. I would never accuse people of that, but I will say that residents have come to us and have blatantly said, I've witnessed my neighbor doing this, allowing their friends and family bringing trash from other communities. If you get your stickers and you still choose to do something like that, I don't know that we would have a way to control that, but we would like to communicate that message out to anybody listening tonight or to others who get this information that you shouldn't be throwing away taxpayers' dime, another community's trash. That's something that they should be responsible for. And so we do have residents who have come to us and told us that they are observing that. And if having a limit, even if it's psychological in nature, the idea of a limit of stickers helps people make that decision about whether or not they're going to continue to take some other community's trash and ask you as a taxpayer to pay for it, to dispose of it. We would like to discourage them from doing that. So to Jan's point, that having a limit provides a little a reminder that there should be some type of boundary or parameter around this is what we're trying to convey. But again, the information needs to come back to the board in terms of how it's operating, how many stickers are being used, so that they can make program adjustments as we go forward.
If that's the case, then give the tickets out, then give the stickers out for free. don't have a certain limit and then charge. If you're saying this is a a growing year and a trial run, have them be free and have them then have to go to the town hall and pick more up, but have them be free. The inconvenience of going to the town hall and trying to get tickets.
Because those people at town hall are rude.
Well, it's tough for working people to get there during their open hours, but
I'm
that's
joking. I'm joking.
So,
and again, Brian, you know me. I'm
know.
very, but
I know.
that's what I'm saying. If you want to just do a study and see how many trash stickers do we need, so down the line, then give them free. Give them 152 to begin with. Give them 52 again, and then after that, now you got to schlep to the town hall and ask us, please, could we have more stickers? That's the way to gather that information without charging people. I just think the idea that there is a limit of, it mathematically works out to 3 bags, or I think that's what we said.
Yep.
To me, just puts a lot of undue pressure on people who, again, have either larger families or younger children that they feel like they're going to endure some burden of cost to throw away their trash. And I would hate to think that people were going to resort to throwing it away other places, illegally dumping it in their backyard or burying it in the hole or something like that.
Fair points.
So Mackenzie, I just want to chime in with a few points, and then we welcome more questions, but I also know there's other people on. We'll give them an opportunity, and we can circle back if you have further. The board discussed this, probably ad nauseum, in our opinion, over the last year or so, and we discussed options around how many free and those sorts of things, and we tried to do this by numbers and data, and be as generous as made sense. We also did say we will review the program. We may review it in 6 months and see how it's going, how many people have asked at 6 months for more stickers, or those sorts of things. And so this isn't something where it's set in stone, but we also did need to start somewhere, and we decided that that was reasonable. The rate we set for additional stickers is significantly lower than any other community around us. I mean, most towns are $253 a sticker. So that was a consideration we looked at. When we set these numbers, if everyone used every sticker we're going to give them for free, we would be throwing away 3 times the amount of trash that the new high 10-ton limit is. It's almost 30 tons a week. So the average resident during the last fiscal year has been putting out a bag a week at 33 pounds ish. So the idea that we gave three times that to everyone, hopefully we gave plenty of bandwidth for people to have sufficient without most people ever hitting that that tier where you're going to be asking for stickers that cost money. And then in terms of the equitable piece, we considered a lot of different ways to do this, and I get your scenario about a senior citizen who is burdened or such by this, but on the flip side, they're burdened by the tax rate that everyone's enjoying the free trash from. So if we continue to let the trash costs and the hauling costs increase, uncapped without any other type of method to either help limit the amount that the town throws away, or to realign the cost towards the few, and this likely is a very few residents who exceed 3 bag a year, instead would put that burden on the senior citizens, on those families, would put them on everyone. And so when you talk about equitable, I mean, that's some of the balance we have to say on how many are free. So we all pay the same tax rate as residents, so we all get the same amount of stickers because we're all paying in the same amount towards that based on our valuation. So that's some of the basis on how we came to those numbers. Not a science, it's just there's some science, but it's not a perfect. But we did the best we could to come up with a plan for the first year.
Other questions that folks on the call have that you would like us to address?
Yeah, how do I get in?
We can hear you, Margaret.
Oh, I want to know how big a bag?
So the max limit is either a weight of 35 pounds or a max gallon size of 33 gallons.
My trash bags are all 13 gallons, so how do I deal with that?
So I can tell you what I do in Greenfield, but and what I do in Greenfield is I use the 13 gallons like you're talking about, and I have a trash barrel in my garage where I put all of my kitchen bags in one larger bag and I put one sticker on it. But what we're saying in this situation is if you're using the 13 or 15 gallon kitchen bags, two of those together with a sticker around the neck, one sticker will take care of two of those bags. So you don't have to go out
Okay.
and buy larger bags if you don't want to, but some families are already doing that. And so we were trying to make it work for both situations.
Okay, because I didn't want to have to go out and buy bigger bags to put two bags in.
I hear you. I felt the same way when we started in Greenfield too. I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Other folks on the call have questions that we can answer or more research. And I think, just to reiterate what Jake said, the board is going to continue to monitor this and check back in. And I'm sure this will continue to be a topic on select board agendas throughout the year and the coming months. So this definitely is a learning year, and there's more discussion to be had about this. I'm not seeing.
And just
Oh, yes.
One more thing I'm going to add, and then if anyone else has any, or Mackenzie, if you have any more questions, the contract with the hauler, and we'll have to renew that at some point. And when we had to renew the last time, the cost had gone up significantly from the prior contracts, from the bid process we went through. I believe we were talking 20+% increases. We also designed the bid and the contract around the expectation that our trash was 5 to 7 tons a week.
Right.
The fact that, and Jim mentioned this earlier, that our hauler has had to send 2 trucks instead of 1 per day, and is hauling 50% more trash than we had estimated in our bid.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice that they haven't come back to us and said that didn't match up to what we said they would be doing, and there's another cost, right? So we've enjoyed the luxury that our hauling costs haven't gone up, even though our total trash and our disposal is going up. But that will come back, whether it's at the contract renewal or at some point in the future, and cost the town even more. And so I think when we look at it, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if we look at in fiscal 22 or 23, the last 3 to 5 years, we're going to see something like 30 to 50 or maybe even more % increases in our overall trash cost. And so it's just, it's our fiscal responsibility as the select board to try to understand, prevent, limit, do things that help mitigate that, because we can't raise our tax rate 40% every 3 years, and we wouldn't want to. And so it's our responsibility to try to ensure that those costs aren't just uncapped endlessly. Mm-hmm. And some things we can control and some we can't. At the end of the day, we do this program, we get some data. If the overwhelming majority of taxpayers come back and give us feedback over the next year or a couple of years of this program and say, we would rather pay a higher tax rate no matter what that means and not have stickers, well, obviously we serve at the pleasure of the people and we'll make those changes. But it is our responsibility to ensure that we're being transparent. We gather all the data. We try to make well-informed decisions and fiscally responsible decisions for the town. And then if we're asked to do something differently by the majority, obviously then that's the will of the people. But we need to start from that place. So that's where we're coming from in doing this. It isn't about wanting to penalize one family or just start charging for trash because we don't like free trash. We're all residents here too. I think we all enjoy the perks of Erving and curbside and free leaf pickup and free trash and anything goes and all those other things that we enjoy here at a lower tax rate than a lot of our neighbors. So,
and just to the cost point that you mentioned, Jake, the 5 years ago, the hauler, and we've had a few haulers over the last 5 years. We're in a new contract, to Mackenzie's point, that started last year. We just started the second year of that contract. We originally were hauling and disposing of your trash for somewhere around $75,000 a year. Your current contract just for the hauling is up to $95,000 a year. And that was less than what the previous hauler wanted to increase it to. They wanted to increase it to $110,000. So we went back out to bid and were able to secure a lower price. But there are escalators every year for 3 years. And then there's additional escalators if the board was to negotiate a continuation for years 4 and 5. In the meantime, the disposal of trash is about it was 94.50 a ton last year. I know that there's escalators each year for the tonnage as well. And that's not closing. There's some market principles in all of this, some of which belong to the fact that the small haulers that we used to enjoy no longer exist. They've all been purchased and incorporated into larger haulers. So there's fewer vendors within the market for us even to seek competitive bids from. Jan helps me every time we go out to bid, and we hit every potential vendor in the tri-state area that could service our area. And we usually are down to one or two responses because it's just the nature of that market. And in terms of disposal sites, the landfills are all closing. And so we have very few options for processing. And Jan actually helped secure our most recent contract with a disposal site, which is down in Agawam. So the town of Erving is sort of the recipient of, or on the receiving end of, these external factors that we're trying to work with these market principles, but there's only so much our buying power can impact. In accessing through Jan services, the buying power of the region has helped us control these costs from exploding as quickly as they could. But in just 5 years, our trash disposal costs have gone from somewhere in the range of $75,000 to $80,000 to a year to somewhere closer to $130,000 and $140,000 a year. And in the contracts, there's already escalators for each of these years. So we know it's going to continue to rise, just like Jake described.
I just want to clarify, the number Brian gave, the $94 was actually the recycling processing.
Thank you.
That's okay. No, there's lots of numbers. The town paid $80 a ton for trash disposal for FY21, and FY22 is $81.10.
Thank you.
So it goes up only a little bit this fiscal year, but in 5 years it goes up to $87. So we secured a 5-year contract with the disposal facility, knowing that there were very few alternatives. So those prices are locked in for 5 years, but other places are paying much more than that. So, but every ton of trash, costs $80 a ton, basically.
Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
A few folks have dropped off the call. I'm assuming they had no additional questions. For those that are remaining, are there additional questions that we can either research or answer now?
I would just like to request that we continue to do these spot checks on this trash hauler, that we ensure that they're not continuing to commingle.
Yep.
Although, am I understanding that it costs more to recycle a ton than it does to dispose of a ton?
The second Jan mentioned the two disposal costs, Jake and I were wondering if that question would come up. So the disposal cost of recycling, there was a change to the market, and our slides probably weren't detailed enough to explain what changed this past year. And Jan can definitely, this is her bread and butter, so she can explain it better than me. But the overview that I can share while she's pulling up her information, we have always enjoyed in Franklin County and in the Western Mass region, sending our materials almost at no cost. We paid the trucking fee, but we didn't have to pay the disposal site. Last year that changed, and there's a new contract running the facility that Jan talked about in the beginning, the MRF. Towns had to sign on for a multi-year contract where there is a cost to dispose of each ton. And as I made the mistake of referencing the $94 per ton cost, that was to dispose of recycling. There's a market value every month that's determined. There's an index that is determined for the value of our recyclable materials. It's dictated obviously by external forces like the market. It's also dictated by how clean our recycling material is. And so every time that value increases, we net a benefit. So we pay that recycling cost to dispose, we pay that cost to truck it to the site, but we may also get money back. And Jan was noting when we started this presentation that this is actually the first month that we started to receive, or second?
June. It started in June.
Okay. So finally we're getting money.
So that's a great question. I love that you're quick thinking about that. So the contract for recycling, the base processing fee is $93.50. That was for last fiscal year. So the way that contract works is you start out at 90, let's say $94 a ton, but then the vendor has to look at what the market value is of every single commodity. So they look at tin cans, they look at aluminum, they look at paper, what else? Plastics, and they calculate a revenue, basically a market price or market, a positive market value. That's what I'm looking for a ton of recyclables coming out of Western Mass. And so and then they deduct that from the $94. So in July, last July, the market value was $24. So towns were basically paying $70 a ton for recycling. So that was less than your trash tip fee. I had mentioned earlier how the markets were jumping wildly into our favor. And so 6 months in, towns were paying $50 a ton. And then in May, it went to $13 a ton. And in June, every town is getting $9.50 a ton in revenue. The vendor believes that the markets are going to stay positive, at least for this fiscal year. And we're seeing jumps, sometimes, $10 a month, $15 a month in commodity index. So there really is an advantage financially now, where it was a cost at the beginning of July. A year later, there's actually a revenue source for every ton of recycling that every town in Franklin County generates.
I do have one question, Brian.
Yes.
I was just wondering, like the packaging that comes, you get an air conditioner, you get a TV or something like that. I came in late. Did you discuss how we're going to get rid of that styrofoam? I mean, it might fill up one bag, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
You are right. That would be considered trash. Styrofoam can't be recycled. Obviously, all the other packaging materials related to that, the box and materials like that, can be recycled. And so yes, it could be a situation where that alone takes up a bag, and I personally have experienced that too. So I understand that concern. I think those are typically more the exception rather than the rule. And so it really was something where all of your other stickers have been exhausted, the 156 total. You're right, that potentially would put you in a situation where we have to acquire more. And that's, I think, part of what Mackenzie was discussing. What do you do when you get to that limit? And our current proposal is that 50 cents a sticker. But again, additional information we'll keep monitoring. And Mackenzie, yes, we can hold more check-ins, not only with the vendor, but maybe even check-ins with the citizens like this, and keep getting that feedback so that we can keep tailoring the program. At the end of the day, there's no perfect one way to roll this out. The goal of this is to keep a service that you all value, keep it running. We don't want to be a town that just goes to a transfer station. We don't want to be a town that's charging $3 a bag. We don't want to do any of those things. It's just to keep this service sustainable, to keep it something that is what the town intended it to be, to take care of its residents and not necessarily beyond those borders. But if some of the initial program design doesn't exactly meet what the citizens are looking for, to Jake's point, we need that information and that feedback so we can come back and tailor it. And unfortunately, at some point, we just have to take the Band-Aid off and take a step into this and try it. And then, I've got tough skin, so I will take all of the feedback that you all have and share it back with the board and share it with the other residents. And you all, at the end of the day, will make the decisions that you as residents make. So the board will keep making this a public conversation for you.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions before we let you all go? I know it looks like we've been together for about an hour and a half, and I do appreciate you all taking the time to come and have this conversation with us. And just because we stopped the conversation tonight doesn't mean that tomorrow morning or tonight when you think of something else, you can't send it along. Please do email us. I can put it back up on the screen if that's helpful. Let's see if it will let me. No, that froze again too.
Brian, while you're doing that, I just wanted to offer something, and maybe this is something that Mackenzie would be interested in or support, or I don't know. Anyways, in my community, folks who know they're not going to use all their stickers. So, 6 months into the program, if you still have a pile of stickers that you're not going to use, you can turn stickers, unused stickers from your stash into the town hall, and then they distribute them. So instead of, as you were saying, having to ask a neighbor or feeling like you need to find someone, that may be something that the board considers or that citizens weigh in on. So in my community, people turn in their stickers that they know they're not going to use, and then someone who needs stickers, somebody with a family of small kids, lots of diapers, or somebody who is just making more trash, can go to town hall and not pay for more stickers. But again, there's that universe of X number of stickers out in the community, and so they funnel back through town hall, and you don't have to find someone personally. You could just go to town hall and get some from their supply, from their what's been turned back in. So that's
Right.
just an idea that may make it easier for people who need more stickers not to have to personally find them.
So like a community chest that we can keep at town hall to provide for those needs.
Exactly. And people pretty much know after, certainly the first year there's a lot of uncertainty, but I think 6 months in, people know, oh, I've only used, a third of my stickers, not a half, and I can donate, 5 sheets to the town hall or something. So I just put that out there. I want to thank folks for your great questions, and certainly feel free to follow up with me if you have recycling or composting questions or anything about the kind of technical aspects of trash and recycling management in town, the contract numbers, or tonnage. I do have tonnage figures going back probably to possibly 2003. So I'm happy to share. That's all public information. It's all public documents, and I'm happy to offer a deeper dive for those who are interested.
Absolutely. And we'll keep building out the website. The town website is going to have more information on it as of this week about this program. Likely even tonight. It will include this slideshow. It'll include some of this other data. But if there seems to be some information that the residents feel would not only benefit them but their neighbors, just letting me know what you think is missing and that you'd like to see it on the website. I'm happy to put as much of this information out there. Obviously, we talk about this stuff internally on a regular basis, and so something that may seem second nature to us may not be as clear to the residents. And I think some of these questions, as you all were talking, I was making notes about the questions that were coming up and thinking about what answers I can provide to the FAQ that we'll post to make sure that we keep building that and it becomes more of a resource for folks who are interested. So thank you for that, and thank you for any future ideas that you bring forward. So unless there's anything else, I guess we can call it a night, and with the goal of reconvening at some point later, maybe this fall, to do a check-in about how things are going and to get some community feedback. All right. Thank you all so much for making time for this tonight. I appreciate it.
Good night, folks. Be well.
Thanks, everyone.